Antarctica. Wow, I'm so excited to be sharing this with you. You know, we're going to be there 1 year from now, like 1 year. So let me just take you through how we're going to go through this webinar. Basically, we're going to go for about 30 minutes only. Then we'll have some Q&A at the end. So if you can just hold all your questions till then, that'll be fantastic. I'm going to obviously outline the trip, and I'm going to share with you some of the changes that I've seen over the last two, and why that's really important, but also some of the things that were just, I just had no idea they were going to be happening, like just the wow factors that no one really told me about. And then we're going to introduce Mick and everything about from the leadership side, take you through the whole trip. But more than anything else, just get you super excited about it, because if you get to go with us, and we really hope you do, we will be 0.0000000% of the population of the world who gets the chance to go there. So let's kick off. So a little quick thing about me. So like my background has been in corporate, used to manage, big, $50 million budgets for Microsoft. And then I had my own company, which is a cooking team building events company. So a lot of group, a lot of leadership. I sold that just before COVID. And now I've been focusing as a speaker and as a coach. And so I guess what I'm bringing is that sort of business leadership, personal development angle as well, because you never come back the same when you go to Antarctica. You just don't. You're always up level. Your heart, your soul, your ability to communicate, you're just so wowed, you just can't help but not. But I've also done lots and lots of adventure travel. I've kayaked, somewhere up near, Alaska, I think it was. I'm still not quite sure exactly where I got to with, killer whales, running around Uluru, cycling, camping, all sorts of different stuff. So I'm a seasoned adventure traveller, and I cannot wait to take you all there. Here's what you get to see. Wow, oh my God. So you go out in the Zodiacs most times, a day, a couple of times a day, obviously all weather permitting, and you'll just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden, a whale pops up, or penguins come and jump in, and it's so dynamic, but you also get time to just sit there and chill in the Zodiacs and just take it all in. So you're kind of on this almost like a roller coaster of emotion and excitement, and then deep quiet. Everywhere you look around and you see something different. These here are my photos that I took on my first trip, and that's why I said you just don't come back the same when you have this chance. And even with the birds, I was quite surprised with the bird life that was down there. I just sort of thought, where are they going to come from? But they get there somehow. And that picture down the bottom right-hand corner there, that looks sort of small, but it's actually like about nearly half a kilometre long. And all in the little, where the little nooks and crannies, the blue actually glows. It looks like someone's got a fluoro light there, and you are just mesmerised. It's just the light coming up from the water. Just magical. And then the top right one there's like a little bit of lichen and stuff. And this is a little bit of a thing, like from a climate point of view, or you're talking with Mick about a little. This is why it's so important that we, while we can, get there, share about how important it is so that we can protect it, because there's stuff growing there that shouldn't be, and there's less marine life, which of course is what we don't want. Kayaking. Now, that's one of my things and great joys. This is an optional activity, you don't have to do it. But as you can see from this one, this was in 10 years ago, the first trip. And I had this little penguin just sort of magically sit there as my perfect model. And this picture is it's on coffee cups, it's on fridge magnets, it's even on my business card actually, because my business card says life and adventure or nothing at all. And that's the piece that I'm going to be hoping to bring towards this trip for you. But then you have other times, like the next day you go out and it's pretty wild, right? The tides have turned, there's lots of ice around, you've got to dig deep. So that's that piece where it's not just like it's all steady Eddie the whole time. And that's part of the magic of Antarctica, is being able to react and respond to the beauty, the majesty, the wildness that you're going to be seeing there and be part of. You're not seeing it, you're actually in it. And then you get days like this. This was Christmas Day. I couldn't believe it. And just, I don't know if you can see it, but there's one little penguin that was on that big ice sheet, and it came waddling over, and it did like a little waddle, and it got faster, and then it went on its belly, and it slid right over to us and actually couldn't stop itself and fell over the edge. And it was like our own little happy feet moment. So these are all these just little moments that just grab you, and they get in your heart and your bones, and then you're never the same. That's why, Now, this here is some photos just to show you how things have really changed over the years. So that first photo was from my first trip, and everyone's heard of the polar plunge. Optional, of course, but 100% you got to do it. You just got to do it. Just get out there. There were people. I just dived in, no rope. People were jumping in from over the sides. Who likes those photos? Hey, check those out. But now the one on the right is that's me 2 years ago, where now everyone has to have a piece of rope. And so what I'm just saying, and it's all still great, don't worry about the rope, but what I'm saying is that the rules and everything is just getting that bit tighter, and at some point they're probably going to say no, we can't. So you don't want to muck around. If this has been a bucket list for a long time for you, don't leave it for too long. Come with us, for a start, but seriously, don't leave it for too long. One of the things that really amazed me when I was down there was the amount of history of humans in Antarctica. And so, even there's this thing there called the British History Museum. It's basically like an old research shack where a couple of, research scientists were there in the 30s and 40s, I think, if I can remember. And so they've preserved it all, so you can go and have a look. It's the only place you can spend money in the whole of Antarctica. Like, you can get yourself a postcard and put it in the Penguin Post. But have a look at that recipe book. I took a photo of this. How does that make you curl a little bit?
That won't be on the menu though, so yeah.
Yeah, penguin brains or gratin or seal brains, so this is how they lived, right? So you've got these unexpected surprises, and then when it comes to the camping, now this here is one thing that I've actually managed to secure 12 spots. We'll try and get some more, but this will be first in, first best. This is an optional extra, but if you can, you've got to camp out over the ice. Imagine no tents. You're just looking up at the stars, and imagine there's dinner stories that you can be telling forever. Which brings me on to mine, actually. I was telling Mick about this just before. On my very first trip, I was quite surprised that only half of the people who were able to go said yes, they wanted to go. And I said, why aren't you going? And back then it was actually free. It wasn't a thing that you had to pay for extra. I said, it's going to be cold. And I'm like, it's Antarctica. Of course it's going to be cold, right? But anyway, I managed to get it up to the full numbers. I sort of did a little bit of, Leona influencing skills there. But there was one lady called Mary. She was in her 70s, and she was a bit anxious about it because, being a lady of a certain age, she was worried about having to get up in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock or something. And I just said, look, put your sleeping bag near me, and I will help with whatever it is that you need. And that's exactly what's going to be happening with this trip. I'm here for you guys. Anyway, so I finally got to sleep, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm deep down in my sleeping bag, and I was woken up. But it wasn't Mary. I was woken up by a penguin who put its head right into my sleeping bag. And I'm there, and I've got like this penguin. Well, I'm looking at it, and it's looking at me, and I had a penguin moment, right? And we just stared at each other for about 30, 45 seconds. And then, of course, I had to go to the loo. And so, got up and I went down to the water's edge, and then they followed me. And so the penguin and a couple of his mates watched me. How unreal is that? But then here's the thing. Not only did I have that experience, but then the next morning when we woke up, these penguins that we hadn't seen before, look at this. They hatched a couple of this. This is my photos. These are my photos here, and so 2 little baby penguins. And so there's so much that's unpredictable, but you can almost predict that you're going to have all of these unpredictable, magical moments that just, look at those things. You just couldn't, anywhere else in the world. So that was pretty special for me. And then, of course, you've got to have fun, right? So it's a bucket list trip, and however much you want to get involved in the leadership or the climate, that's all up to you. But let's have some fun as well. And so this pic here, that's myself, there's a travel writer, there's Meg from Chimu, who's also on the call, and we a couple of other people. They're big business people. You mightn't think it all the time, but that's the magic of the trip. So we'll have our gang, but there'll also be some other cool people from all around the world on there as well that you get to mix with. So when it comes to this being my 3rd trip, and ever since I did the first one, I said, I've got to bring a whole bunch of, either they're business people or just really cool people, and just share this with. And I also know it's quite frankly, bloody tricky to get yourself there. There's loads of research you have to do. What boat do I go on? What do I do this? How do I get there? Flights, and there's a lot to take into consideration. And I thought, I'm a two-timer. I can help people with this. And then, you know, partnering with Chimu, and then, but let's layer it up and bring out a whole lots of fabulousness and X factor. And that was when, you know, only back in November, connected up with Mick, and we were talking about this Antarctica thing. We said, right, let's do it. Let's do it. So let me hand you over to Mick.
Thank you, Leona. So incredible to see all those photos. I've seen them for years. I'm just so jealous. I just need to go just to get it off my bucket list and get on with it really and have this amazing experience. For those who don't know me, I've spent my life in technology. I've worked with about 1,000 companies. I wrote a book focused on diversity in tech. And about 8 years ago, somebody pulled out of the Paris Agreement, and I decided to commit the next big chunk of my life to solving environmental problems. Fast forward 4 years later, I was back in Australia, and I wanted to see some of these challenges for myself. So I got to go up to Cairns as a part of my work and go and see the Great Barrier Reef. And seeing it with my own eyes with some marine biologists was just an incredible way to connect to the challenge and to reinvigorate my passion to solving these problems. Now, Climate Salad, which I built after that, has grown to 750 companies who are solving global climate problems. It's an incredible community, and I wanted just to take another bit of time to have another experience focused on the wilderness and nature and the environment. I also turned 50 last year, and been on my bucket list also for 20 years was to get to 50 countries and get to all continents. And I had two not on my list, South America and Antarctica. And it just so happens that you're able to connect those both together. Luckily for me, about 15 years ago, I started doing some work with Leona. We got to know each other through the EO program and built a really strong bond and connection. And last November, when I said, look, next year, I think it's the year I have to absolutely go to Antarctica, her eyes lit up and she said, I want to go and bring an incredible group of people. I said, that would be amazing. Let's do it. Let's go and work on it. So we started planning, we started getting ideas together, and we started formulating this thesis that maybe we can actually do more than just go to Antarctica. What if we actually put more layers on top of it? And we added leadership and personal growth and add some diving into the climate side. What if we're able to that and just make it absolutely incredible wow factor? And what if the people you went with wasn't just me and Leona, which would be amazing, or a few friends? What if it was like a whole group of incredible people, so the experience is actually even bigger, and it's lifetime. It is life-changing, but also how about we made these new connections? And the final thing for me, honestly, as Leona said, I was researching, I was looking at it, how do I go, what do I do, how many pairs of socks do I need? Like there's 100 questions. I wanted to go with someone who gave me the confidence that it was going to work out well and we were going to have this smooth operation. So they were the three things that we were thinking about making this trip really, really special. I'm going to run through them really quickly about some of the components, and then we'll get to it again, some Q&A after this. Firstly, the incredible support. These are about 30 things that you need to think about on a list of about 50. And what you've got is a support team here, passionate people around climate, people who've been there before, and of course the incredible team from Chimu Adventures who are going to support you. And we've got Meg on the line here today who's going to help any questions. And in fact, Leona put out a call last night to get some updated content, and we have a video from Chad from Chimu Adventures that just got into our inbox 3 hours ago. So this is hot off the presses. Let's hear from Chad.
Hi there, Leona, and everyone else that's watching this webinar. This is Chad Carey here from Chimu Adventures. I'm the Managing Director here at Chimu and also Director at Polar Latitudes as well. I'm actually on the Sea Venture right now. But what I really wanted to show you was this. We are in the Galash Strait in Antarctica. We've just seen some leopard seals, crab-eater seals, a bunch of humpback whales as well, all in the Zodiac. I actually had a fin whale right off this balcony a couple of days ago as well, just while I was sitting out here. So it's not a bad spot, is it? I encourage you to get down here.
Oh, wow.
Wow, wow, wow. Not a bad spot. Again, 1 year from now, that will be your view if you come along this amazing journey with us. So, yes, it's going to be an incredible experience. And again, we want to make it even better than that. We're going to do some pre-trip work with some calls to connect everybody. So by the time you arrive in Buenos Aires, we're already in fifth gear. You know everybody. We've made that connection. We're building those relationships. When we get to Buenos Aires, we're going to have some food, have some adventures, get to know each other, maybe some workshops, some one-on-one, some coffees. And again, so by the time we get on the boat, we're going to be in sixth gear. Incredible experiences in Antarctica, incredible experiences on the boat. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And the final thing is the amazing people. The people can make or break a trip like this. And obviously, it really helps to have nice people, but we're going to go another level above that. Leaders, entrepreneurs, climate innovators, this group of people around you that, again, we're already going to be really, really strongly warmed up, but before we even get to Buenos Aires, and that group is going to make it a lifetime experience about lifetime connections. So, quick overview of the overall adventure. January 13 to 26 next year. So you've got plenty of time to organise and buy those thermals. As I mentioned, we're going to do some pre-trip stuff. Lock in your spot, do some logistics, we'll do some pre-trip calls, maybe even get together, and we'll do some check-ins and make sure we're communicating before the trip. Now, because I don't have the jacket, I have to pass back to Leona because she's the experienced one to tell us about the adventures.
Hey, lucky me. Okay, let's talk about when you first arrive in Buenos Aires. We're going to get you from the airport. You're not going to be standing there going, oh my God, what pesos do I get? What do I need to do? We're going to collect you from there, take you to a great hotel. We're just sorting that last bit out now because it's exactly 12 months. And then we're going to have a couple of fantastic activities. And that's for 2 nights. And then we're all going to go to the airport together. So you just don't have all those logistic issues. But it's not going to feel like you're on, one of those, 50-seater buses, that kind of a feel. It's small enough to be mighty, but not so big you just get lost in a group. And then we fly to Ushuaia. And then we have this 12, and we have an overnight there. And I'll show you the hotel we're staying at. Oh, my golly, wait till you see it. And then we've got this, fantastic trip where we go out, we go through Shetland Island, we go all the way down through Antarctica. And here's the thing, the 2 times I've been to Antarctica, whilst they're supposed to be generally similar areas, because there was weather changes and things that happens, I got to see totally different areas that weren't even on it. So you have to be, this is an expedition, so you do have to be flexible. It's not like you're flying over and landing in Spain and you're going to do a 12-seater bus around knowing exactly where you're going to be on Wednesday. It doesn't work like that. But that's the fun and the adventure and the excitement of it all. And then we're also going to have the post-trip. This is where I think it's so important because let's just not go back to our homes around the world and just kind of forget. For me, one of the big things that was important, the first time I went on my own. And really, I had these great books and that I created of it all, and the cups and the fridge magnets, but I really didn't have anyone to share it with. And even 2 days ago, I caught up with a female award-winning filmmaker who's done a lot of filmmaking down there in Antarctica. And she asked me, she said, what was your first thoughts when you first stood on Antarctica? And I just got really quite teary, and she was the same. So it's about being able to have that, but also extend the brain's trust and the great fun people that we've got to know. Friendships, business connections, whatever it works for you, we're going to lean into that. Here's the hotel in Ushuaia, looking a little bit flash there. So this is the numero uno place to stay. So we get to have 1 night there before we head onto the boat. This here is the Sea Venture, which is the boat that I've chosen. Let me be really clear. Choosing the right boat is probably the number one thing. I don't know how, every time I talk with people, the biggest complaint that I hear, oh yeah, it was great, but the boat was too big. It took 2 hours getting everybody off and onto the Zodiacs to go anywhere, and you just got lost, or there'd be a group of 100 would go through on one big tour and they just take over the buffet in one moment, all that sort of stuff. So this boat here is about 130 people. So it's fast and it's made for expedition. So it's about a 4.5 star. So we don't want to be on the ones that have got the butler service going on. That's great, but we're in Antarctica. You don't need that stuff. Do that when you're going somewhere else. But it's but it's not the cheap and cheerful where you just don't have enough staff for safety and for all the operations, because it takes a lot of operations to make that all happen. And that's why I'm also partnering with Chamu, because I've worked with them before. They're Australian. You just heard Chad. They know what's going on. Now, for some of you, depending on what your situation is, if you work for a corporation and they want to, you're going to be looking for maybe a little bit of part or full funding, we're going to give you a business case, because here's the thing. I do a lot of coaching with COOs, CFOs, executives, CEOs, and one of the number one things that's on their CSR tick box is around climate action. So imagine being able to come back, having experienced it for yourself. You don't just stand there rereading something or not feeling it. You'll be able to imagine your elevation of yourself in that. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, you've got your own company, you might not need to convince anyone except maybe your partner that that's what you're doing. But the whole thing here is that it's about personal growth, it's about connection, business connections, personal connections, fun, and there's an element of relaxation there as well. Honestly, your nervous system, whilst it's so overstimulated, it's like you've done like a 5-day meditation or something. You just get zen, so it's great for all those stressed out execs out there as well. So we'll give you all the paperwork that you need to look for some funding. Don't worry about that. Why now and why us? Look, I've got that experience of having been there. I'm a leader, I'm a coach, I'm a group facilitator. That's my bag, that's what I love. So that's the thing that I'm going to bring to this. And the fact is the place is changing fast, right? Like I showed you how there's more rules and things, and eventually things are going to be, gone from us. So my great tip there is that let's just go quickly. And we know the commitment that it takes from you in terms of time and dollars to get there. I just want you to know that we are matching that by 10 in terms of bringing that extra layer of specialness and uniqueness and what this is going to do for you, your heart, your soul, your career, whatever's important for you. The community before and after, and just all the good stuff that comes with this, but just know that we are 100% committed. And there genuinely are, in all honesty, there's really, up until the end of February, there's really only about 12 spots that we've been able to 100% secure, because in all honesty, it's a bit of a seller's market, more people than boats. So we've got to go fast to get them in, and also for the camping spots as well and the kayaking. So don't muck around. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that as in quick do the steak knives or anything. I'm saying that quite genuinely. This is a time to take action, and we've made it easy. You don't have to do all the research, which is really cool. So your bucket list investment, do you want to go through that bit?
Yes, the bucket list. So look, I think this is my time to go. Like there's going to be no better time, and there may be no other time. So this absolutely is my commitment to go. And actually, we've already got one spot is already taken. So this is moving really, really quickly. So it's from $24,250, depending again, it's twin share, but there are some minor options in that. The first 5 to book, we're giving a $150 voucher to, and an hour of time with Leona and myself, whether that's around leadership or climate. Included in the trip is the Buenos Aires and Ushuaia accommodation, meals, drinks, and also the internal flights. So we'll give you the full details on those. Not included is the flights to and from Buenos Aires, but we can support you on that, and we've got some hacks to help you use your points to make the most of it. And then the extra options around kayaking and camping as well. So that's the big part of, they're the key things to think about through that investment.
Just on that as well, when I was looking at different partners to go with, I was really looking for that mid-upper tier, so that you're not spending like $35,000 just to have a butler come and bring you a cup of tea, but you're also not with where it's like the boats just look pretty a bit older and shabby. So I've hit that midpoint, and that's so that includes all your internal flights and stuff. So it's really great value. Just wanted to share something with you. This is just a little video that I took. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas Day. Actually, no, it was Boxing Day. This could be you.
So it's an amazing experience. Like Leona has done this. I want to go and do it, and we want to do it with incredible people. So let's get going.
Yeah. So how cool is that?
Wow.
I know. And it's just,
Breathtaking.
And then you'll have a penguin just jump over the the bow of your kayak, and then they look at you from the from the water and go, hello,
Yeah.
hello.
I want to meet some penguins.
You want to meet some penguins. I know we all want to meet some penguins. So what's the next step? Say yes. Just say yes. If you're not 100% ready to say yes and just go, right, I'm in, or even if you do and you just want to just have a quick chat, we can set up some Zooms and things with Mick and or myself so that we can make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row and you just feel really good about it. This is your bucket list that we are just going to double down and make it exquisite and amazing. So basically the way it works from here, you lock in with the 25% deposit. Then we just start getting onto a whole pile of logistics, T's and C's, all the usual stuff for something like that. But again, we just kind of make it easy, and then we get straight into starting to have some online events and everything. So there are only a set number of spots left. So when I say please don't muck around, I mean please don't muck around, because I'd hate for you to miss out, because it's not just us taking spots on the boat, it's like other people from around the world as well. So time to take action.
Yeah.
Take action, like climate action, or whatever it is that you want to do, or just have fun.